Hello everyone, Tanak here. Welcome to episode 119 of Building My Industrial Empire in EVE Online. Let's start with the progress report. You can see that my net worth plus that of the corporation is now at 282 billion ISK. If we compare to last week here with the tracker here, you can see that there's a standard progression week after week that we're doing. So except this one, which was completely an anomaly, and this was the Geminate invasion, the rest of the time it's mostly like a good smooth progression week after week. Again, it really depends on the number of active, when you're managing a group this size, it's really the number of active player that's affecting the climb of the corporation. So anyway, that's pretty much it. If you can see the detail here, you can see that we gain about 6 billion compared to last week, which is it makes more sense. I told you that we had some asset in transit, so kind of they're in place right now. So that's kind of it. Now HR. We are now at 449 players, so that's a plus 10 compared to last week. We did get a very good week on recruitment. New members that are active. Of course, you can do a plus 10, but it might be like 3-4 player with the halts. But still, it's good to see our number growing. Online number have been hanging around 69, nice. We're basically hanging around like 60, more or less 70. Again, that's not the maximum we could get, because a few of our players are just like playing other games and stuff like that, but will come in and fight if we do need to ping them. So all in all, HR, I think we got a good week. Climbing still, so that's pretty good. War, that the week started out like kind of boring. Even I didn't play that much this week. I was like cleaning my Steam library of stuff I needed to play. So I do log on, even when I'm not actively playing a lot. I do log on. And I do keep an eye on Discord and just to manage the group, but I wasn't that active during the week. Our number have like it's basically kind of a lull in the game in general. Tranquility, like if you go here in the server status, you can see that like the online member, they're hovering under 20k, and if you look at like we're down at like the lowest the game has been in at least a year. And if you go like 5 years, this one is not like the game is not at its prime. So, but still, there's not much I can do for the state of the game. There's some stuff I can do for the state of my alliance, which is what we're working on. So WOMP, considering that generally speaking there's kind of a lull in the game, and that and hopefully that this is going to change with the new changes they announce. But even with that, we're still doing our best, and our number are growing, so not much to add there. So anyway, the week started pretty slow, not much happening, not much fight. Then last night, Fire, Severance mostly, and a few other guys came in to try to grab a fight in QTAC, but they had like a 60-man fleet with Typhoon and like a bunch of Logi, so not something that we could flash form to do. They toasted the QTAC iHub and refed one structure there. The structure was coming out of timer today, earlier during the day, and iHub is coming out of timer tomorrow, so we'll see if they fight. It was a big group. We didn't have the number online nor an FC to challenge that, and we didn't want to flash form to fight an organized fleet of 60 dude. If they want to go and come in 60 people, watch somebody for an hour, toast the hub, not much we can do about that. So that's what happened. So anyway, that was like, okay, some stuff is happening. We were getting ready to fight for the Atenor timer today, but earlier Triumvirate had a structure that was an armor timer, and their armor timer came before ours, and we decided to go and help them. Now this resulted in one of the most fun battle I had since I started playing Eve. It was kind of crazy. So you did have all of fire plus tire on grid with test. Pandemic Horde arrive after, but with test initially on grid. And we came with a fleet of Typhoon to try to challenge them for the armor timer. So we started engaging them. As you can see, even with try, we were a little bit outnumbered. So like 120 on our side against like almost 200 on their side. So the fight started, and they had 2 facts on grid. Ripping their Typhoon fleet. So to break those facts, we dropped a few dread, and they escalated with more dread, and we escalated on our side with more dread. So we ended up killing 11 fire dreads. We lost 3 of our own during, so 3 versus 11 was pretty good, and they killed a few of our Typhoon. We managed to chew through their. They had They had a bunch of Geddon, so we did chew through their a bunch of Balgorn. So we did chew through their Balgorn, and we shot a bunch of tackle. So overall, the result was 30 bill lost on our side against 70 bill in damage inflicted on the other side. At the end of the fight, when the fight was almost over, Goon showed up in Jackdaw, but I won't say they did nothing, because they did manage to shoot the tackle that were grabbing one of our dread trying to extract. So one dread managed to extract after that. They did manage to push through the timer, so we technically lost the objective. But we did manage to destroy like a significant amount of dread. And if you go on my personal kill board, it looked pretty sweet tonight. For a week where I barely even played, I got 70 billion ship destroy with 0 loss. So I got a pretty good week out of that. And that was like 35-minute. That fight ended, and 35-minute after was the timer for our Atenor. So we were getting ready for round 2, but they didn't show up for round 2. So our Atenor is back to full strength. We'll see if they show up for the iHub timer tomorrow. If you look at the ADM, we got pretty much the most favorable situation we can with maxed out ADM in QTAC-S. So, I mean, we're in the best situation possible, and it's our own constellation. We got structure everywhere. So we'll see how it goes. Again, pushing iHub timer on constellation that are that big. Not saying it's impossible, but it's not the strategy I would employ. But whatever, they do them and we do us. So anyway, that was still a pretty awesome fight. So overall, the corp this week we got again a good week, 53% dangerous compared to our all-time of 46, and so overall pretty cool week. Now, what else do I have on the military side? Well, that's pretty much it. We are assisting Try when they're trying to get those fights, but overall, the big issue is that the amount of the amount of bad phones. So as long as you got Horde and Test carrying fire, there's not much we can do to push against those number. But aside from getting the occasional good fight like this one here, they do have their ADM that are starting to drop in the area, and the number of active player on the fire side does seem to drop over time. I did this little comparison here with the big group on all sides. So you can see that the big alliance in Wrecking Crew is WOM Sigma, Hero, Purple Helmet Warrior, and Rogue Consortium. And again, I'm not putting everybody, so if you're watching and you're part of our group and you're in a smaller alliance, sorry, because it's a lot of time to cut and paste all of these, so I usually keep to the larger alliance, because like there's about 20, if you count the smallest one, there's about 20 in Wrecking Crew and probably as much on the fire side. But still, you can see that we got about, on paper, about 3,500 member on the Wrecking Crew side, and about 430 active in PvP. Now, I like, that's my paper tiger rating that I do, is you basically divide the number of active in PvP by the total number of character in corp. So you can see corps that have a large corp roster but not that many people active in PvP. So anyway, that's our group, and if you count Try and CV8 that are working together, you do add about 1,000, like 800 more, and 140 active in PvP. So they are so it does make for about more or less 500 to 600 active player in PvP against Fire plus Tire, which is a little more than 1,000 if you count like the big corp in there, a little more than 1,000 active in PvP. But on the fleet side, they are not. When we typically do both these group 1v1, the fleet size are more equal. So I think that our guys at least look like they're more mobilized, and it does show on the percent that my paper tiger rating is, like how much of your corp is actually active member versus on paper member. And you see like these large group, like if you go and look at Horde or Test, they got like 5% active in PvP, but the large roster. So they do have. So these are corp that had a lot of active member, but they don't actively purge inactive from their roster. So they look super big on paper, but Test by itself is like 500 active in PvP in the last 7 days. I'm not saying they're small by any mean. I mean, their Test is basically the size of Wrecking Crew by themselves. But they do look a lot scarier when you look at the paper number. So anyway, on the fire side, you got Legion of Death, Razor, Valkyrie, Severance, which is the fire side, and then you got the tire side, which is the people that are living in Imensia or Tenerifis, which is a Celestial Empire, Black Rose, already replaced, Cosmic Accord, Flying Dangerous, and Lollipop Monopoly. And all these number, they have been going down. So even like WOMP at our prime were like WOMP a few months ago were like around 80 to 90 at some point. If you look back at like about 6-7 episodes ago. Before there was the big drop, before before Elden Ring and Lost Ark, basically, you had like we're hovering at 80-90, but these other group, they also, I'm looking at them every week because you want to check how active they are, and their number have been hurting too. Severance, I remember when we arrived in the area, Severance was like close to like more than 160 to 200 active in PvP. So with these constant ping that they're doing in their constant warfare, they're now down to 85. Again, some of these groups, they've been lowering number. Already Replaced was bigger than WOMP, like significantly at some point, like 120. They're now down to 44. So it does seem to have affected these other group as much, or even probably more than us. And another thing that you need to consider in that is the amount of space that these groups hold, because again, space is good to have, but space is a liability, because you need to maintain that space. You need to fuel structure. You need to pay for that. So having a bunch of space, like a group that is half the size of WOMP, like Flying Dangerous and Potentially Dangerous, but all 2 constellation, that must be taxing for their member. I'm not sure if I was offered a second constellation right now for WOMP. Maybe a small one, but I'm not sure I would take it, simply because you do want to build high, not wide. There's no point in holding space unless you got renter or somebody that's occupying that space for you. It is just bigger high ups bill and more space, more place to maintain, and no real gain, especially space on the front line like this. So what I'm guessing is that with the space they have, the amount of space they currently hold, and the constant ping they're doing, they're probably burning out their member, or at least that's my reflection. Obviously, okay, you can say Tanak, you're just trying to spin thing your way or whatever. I mean, ask them if you don't believe me. I'm just putting forward the way I'm thinking about that thing. Is for me, I'm especially after what we've learned in Geminate, I'm always careful to dose the amount of thing I ask for my guy, not to burn out my group. And what I'm seeing right now on their side is a little bit of what looks from an outside perspective like a burnout. Again, they might disagree, and ask them. I'm not here for spin. I'm just like any number that I put forward is factual. You can go check them on Ezekiel and make your own conclusion. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this geopolitical situation in the area, or the war. Aside from that, industry, we did anchor. I told you last week that we anchored a Raitaru that has been rigged for research. So we do have our research structure fully operational right now. Rig research in nullsec is pretty sweet compared to what you're getting in ISEC. So you're getting basically twice the research speed for your blueprint, which is pretty good. So we're continuing to move forward with that. Again, we got a very, very good setup for industry right now. The only thing we haven't put online yet, and that we're kind of hesitating because it's a big investment and it won't be used a lot right now, is an actual structure for cap production. There are other structure available at the alliance level, but people are mostly working with cap stockpile at this point, because if you look at the price they're trading for, even on the open contract market, they still sell for a lot cheaper than what they cost to build. So not sure if we'll get there. We have the resources, we have the money to put it to anchor that, but we're just waiting for it to make sense. I mean, I'm not gonna put some asset on grid just for fun if nobody's gonna use it. So pretty much it for that's pretty much the way I'm thinking about it. So that's kind of it for now. Aside from that, Tanak, I told you, got a very good week in PvP. I'm now at 72 million skill point or something. Yeah, 72 million skill point. Training my armor compensation for my carrier, and that's pretty much it. So what can you expect to follow the next week or so? Hopefully, we'll get more of our people that come back, and they're gonna get tired of of Elden Ring. And Eve is kind of it's a weird game like that, as it goes in phase. Like if you've asked me last week, or even in the middle of this week, I was kind of I mean, I got other stuff I like to play too, and I was kind of just a little bit tired about the game and everything. But it only takes one fight. Like honestly, one of the coolest fight I had, which I had the opportunity of being in the command channel too. So I do have I can see like Dread preparing to drop those calls and everything. So it's pretty sweet. And when you see those faxes and you see them slowly breaking, boom. Anyway, that was like a very very cool battle. So it does motivate you. You only need one or two of these battles a month, and you get super motivated for the rest of the week. So anyway, I'm kind of back at it a little more, and hopefully the corp will hopefully my newfound flame will carry on with our member and we'll get more people online. So anyway, that's all I had for you today. Hope you guys enjoy, and see you next week. Bye bye.